Are you working with someone you can't stand? We've all been there. Working with people I want to punch in the throat has been called relatable and laugh out loud hilarious. Read the stories about all the crazy people Jen Mann has worked with over the years. Find out who she wants to punch in the throat. Working with people I want to punch in the throat is now available everywhere books are sold.
Hi, I'm Denise Grover-Swank.
And I'm Jen Mann.
And we are two Midlife Mommas.
Hello.
Today we have a really fun topic. In fact, we had to send Ross away.
It's that spicy.
For those of you who are new, Ross is my son who is our engineer of our podcast. And so he set us up and we've sent him away. And I hope this records. He's not monitoring. So, yeah, today we're going to talk about...
So now would be the time to send the children from the room. I don't think anybody listens to kids or listens to us with kids around.
I hope not.
Surely, I mean, what are we on now? Episode 7?
Yes, this is 7.
Look at us,
yeah.
You guys. We're actually sticking with this shit.
I know, we're like real podcasters.
I'm going to change my business card this week.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we're going to go to a podcast convention now.
Oh, wow.
We'll be on the speakers panel.
Yeah, we only have maybe 100 subscribers, but that's okay.
But you could be 101.
That's right.
So you're going to want to listen to today's podcast though, because we're going to talk about sex. And we got this idea because I have a Facebook group called Midlife Bites. And what happens in Midlife Bites stays in Midlife Bites. Right. Unless it's about sex. So, so there was some discussion in there about tantric sex. And Denise and I are both in this group. And so Denise and I were frantically messaging each other. And we're because I was like, do you do the tantric? And
I have never tried tantric sex.
And I don't know if honestly, so the deal was that this woman had 6 hours of lovemaking with her partner, and she wanted to know if she was spoiled. And I was like, bitch, I'm just exhausted reading that.
I know. I told Jen, I said, is it bad that I'm not jealous in the least? The thought of it makes me tired.
I am so happy for her, and if that is what she wants. Because I don't think
there was any downtime there. There's having sex and then resting and getting a snack. Right. Let's be honest, I get hungry, right? Halfway in between there, that's a lot of calories expelled. Yes. And I'd be hungry. I'd be wanting a snack.
Well, that was my question to her, because I was like, was there a snack break at all? Because I'm gonna need a spoonful of peanut butter or something to keep going. Yeah. Because but then on the same thread, somebody else shared an article about that the average man can only have an erection for 4 minutes. And so then it turned into, oh Lord, I can't imagine having sex for only 4 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's I'm sort of I kind of need something in between that, I guess, but I don't really, I've never set a timer. So I think the poor Hubs, the next time he's going to be hey, you want to get busy? I'm hang on a second.
Let me open up my stopwatch on my phone.
You let me know when you're ready, babe. This is for science.
And I am going to report about it to a face group of nearly 9,000 women. But hey.
We're all about community.
That's
Denise.
right.
That's what we're doing here. Is that we're trying to help other people know, am I alone? So I guess my question is, for me personally, I think she might be alone in having 6 hours of sex.
Maybe not alone, but in a very rare class of women.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think if that is what she wants to do and can handle
go,
it,
girl.
If your baby business can take a pounding that.
I know. I kept thinking, God, isn't she sore?
Well, that's it. Okay, thank you. Because I was I think I'd be dried out and sandpapery by hour 1.
At our age, it's not the same. The lubrication's just not the same as it used to be.
Can you imagine how much KY you'd need for 6 hours?
That would take a lot, right? It would be a mess. I would need a shower in between. Time out, shower break.
kind of takes away. Then I don't think you can call it a 6-hour marathon.
I agree with that.
That's just 2 days of lovemaking at that point. But I'm definitely in the category of like if the hubs is like ready to go, I'm literally like, you have like 10 minutes. Like I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I don't want to mess. I don't want to like I don't want to try new things.
Right.
Like I'm so like, you know, like he's always like, you know, do you want to try something new? I'm like, why? Like no. Like I don't want to try anything new. And I feel bad about that because, you know, we're supposed to, what was it like when we were in our 20s? Remember how everyone kept saying like in your 40s was when you were supposed to hit like your sexual peak?
Right.
Like, that was
but I actually did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, 30s and 40s were when I was really like, my libido was very strong. Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. And it was okay. So my first marriage, you know, we're getting real personal here.
That's why we sent the son away.
Yeah, so it was maybe a once a week kind of thing. And so then I hit my 30s and then all of a sudden, and I got a divorce, and all of a sudden I had a very strong libido. And so I got remarried. And, you know, at first he was like totally on board with like, you know, we would probably have sex. Probably 4 or 5 times a week at least.
Damn.
Yeah, right? But then as time went on, and I was still like going strong, and he was 9 years older than me, so he was like close to 50, like he's in his late 40s, you know, then yeah, and I was like in my late 30s, early 40s. I was still like very strong libido, and he was actually like turning me down. So
whoa.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So now you're in a very rare class.
Yeah, right?
Because you don't hear much of that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was such a contradiction because then I'd like want it, but then I'd be like, be getting ready for bed, and I'd be brushing my teeth, and he's like coming up behind me, and I'm like, can you just put a little bit of romance into it, please? Just,
right.
I'm not asking for a whole lot, just a little bit. And so then sometimes I might have wanted it, but it was just the whole like
the delivery.
Yeah.
I can see that because I think, it's not so much, and this is what I've told my husband numerous times, is that it is his timing half the time.
Yes.
That it's like, it's not that I'm opposed to having sex, but I'm opposed to having sex at 11 o'clock at night, like when I'm exhausted and I'm ready to go to bed. Yes. And we've been watching TV for 2 hours.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, we could have already done it.
Yeah. We could have done this hours ago.
Yeah.
Or like I'm walking out the door. Like I'm like, I gotta go. I got a meeting. I've got to be gone in 10 minutes. I'm brushing my teeth. And he's like, hey, how about a quickie? I'm like, Lord, no. No. Like, again, we had hours until now.
Right.
But now listen, and sometimes I think he does that because he likes me to reject him. Because then that way he can lord it over me later.
Oh, well, you turn...
And so
it's kind of a power game.
I kind of think so because he knows, because then he plays the whole sad card, you know, like, you know, you just don't want to have sex. And I'm like, bitch, I just don't want to have sex like 5 minutes before it's school pickup time. Yeah. And that's the thing. We're home all day. Yeah. We're home together all day. Our kids are gone all day. I'm like, lunchtime would be fantastic. Like
a literal nooner.
Actual nooner. Yeah. Like I will put you on my calendar. I will take a break. And he's always napping. And so... So I'm just like, I like to get like, then I like to take my credit. I'm like, oh, you know what? I was ready, but sorry. Yeah. But I don't know. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, there's a disconnect between, it's not that I don't want to have sex, but it really is kind of low in my list of priorities.
Yeah. Well, and at this point for me, like I haven't been married for a while. And so, there's no one to like have sex with, but it's
Tinder.
It's like lower, you know, I've considered it. I would really love a friend with benefits. I don't want a long-term boyfriend. I definitely don't want a husband. I never want to get married again.
Why is that?
Well, I feel like, this sounds completely selfish, but I've spent most of my life taking care of 6 children and 2 husbands and putting everyone's needs above my own. And then after I was widowed and started writing, I felt like for the first time I was putting my own needs front and center. And I don't want to have to worry about someone else's emotional well-being. I know that sounds extremely selfish, but it's not like I'm like picking a guy and then just not like, I recognize that I don't have it to give to anyone right now. And so maybe if someone like showed up and I was excited about it, maybe I'd change my mind. But now it just seems like a lot of work and another child, and I just don't want it. Yeah.
See, my husband thinks I'm crazy, but I keep telling him that. I'm like, if for some reason we're no longer married, one reason or another, we're no longer married, I'm like, I'm never getting remarried again. I'm like,
I was
like, I will have like, I'll find someone that I can just like, fuck.
I would love a guy that we could like hang out, go to dinner, go to his place or a motel room.
He needs to have his own place.
And, you know, have a night of fun, and then I don't have to call him the next day. I'm like the guy. I'm like the stereotypical guy. I don't want to have some clingy guy. And you know what? Guys at our age are clingy. Yeah. They don't want that. Right? They want to get remarried.
Well, because they don't know how to be alone.
Yeah. Every time I've like tried like Match or eHarmony or even like a guy I knew, first date, he's like, he knows I don't want to get remarried, and he's trying to mansplain to me that I actually do want to get remarried. I just don't realize it. Guess what? There was never another date after that. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, most men they're used to, they've already been married before. They're used to a woman taking care of them, and that's what they want. Yeah. And I'm sorry. No, that's done. I'm not taking care of nobody else.
Well, see, that's it. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm like, you made it in. You're here now, and you can stay. But nobody knew after this, because it's been hard. To me, marriage is very difficult anyway. Like figuring out how to share space with somebody. Yes. Figuring out, like, we have very different personalities. Like, you know, he's a dog and I'm a cat. Like, he needs constant attention and petting and reassurance and love, and you know, he wants to constantly be together. You know, he's the one who likes to go to the grocery store as a family, and I'm like, fuck that, you know. And
can I just get 2 minutes to myself?
Right, and that's me. I'm the one who, I'm like, I need to go in the bathroom and cry. Like, I'll be back. Like, and then I'll be happier. And so we're just very different, and it works for us. Mostly, he says, because he doesn't fight with me, and he lets me do it the way I want to do it. Right. But what are the odds of finding somebody else that's going to let me do it the way I want to do it?
Exactly.
And the older I get, forget it.
I'm like getting really set in my ways. Yeah. And I don't want, marriage is compromise.
Yes.
And I don't want to compromise. And maybe that makes me a bitch, but I don't care.
I don't think so.
I don't care. I'm perfectly happy alone.
Yeah.
Perfectly. And you know, if a guy showed up and he was really awesome and I was like super into him, that would be great. But I'm not out there looking anymore. Yeah. I was for a while, but not anymore.
Well, the thing too is like I have family. Are we getting? I have family and friends.
We sent Ross away, and he keeps us like on time. Yeah. So I had my phone set up, so it wasn't on camera. But not very many people watch us.
Oh, that's good.
YouTube.
So. But we don't. We would hate to go over time. Yeah. But yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, I feel like though it's also different with our generation. Like my mom's generation, like my aunts and everybody, they want everyone to be married.
Yes.
And my mom's reasoning is always, well, it's husbands and kids, because it's who will take care of you when you're old. Yeah. And I'm just like, if I'm only marrying a dude who can like change my diaper, like,
that's what my kids are for. That's why I had 6 of them, because my odds are pretty good that
somebody will stay with you. I know. I only have 2, but I'm pretty sure which one it will be that will stay with me, but I don't know yet. I gotta get my claws in a little bit deeper. Okay, so then the other thing I want to ask you about then. So since you don't have a partner steady, the thing I've noticed as well with women our age is we talk a lot about how we're not interested in sex. Our libido is down, most of us, or timing, or we're busy, or whatever the hell. But there's a lot of women out there with the vibrators. Yeah. Like, what is the deal there, you think? Like
so, like,
first of all, do you have a vibrator?
They're in a committed relationship, and so why do they have a vibrator? There's two aspects to this. Okay, so it's been a long time since I've had sex, but I'm still also a sexual person.
Right.
So when my husband died, I went to a church that believed that masturbation was wrong. Oh. And so there was a lot of anger.
The devil's doorbell.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of anger, like, you know, God not only took my husband, but now I'm like sexually frustrated. And so finally I just said, oh, fuck it. Yeah. I'm sorry. No.
That's awful.
Yeah. So
was it wrong for men too, or just women?
I'm pretty sure just women.
Yeah.
So then, so I have tried quite a few
So you have like
devices.
a collection.
I have a little collection in my drawer.
Yeah.
That I need to get like a lockbox for because like I'm scared to death my children are gonna open that drawer and say, "What's this, mommy?" And it was so embarrassing because somebody had posted on Amazon about some sex toy that like suction on one end and a dildo on the other with a vibrator, and I checked it out, and then I actually put it in my save cart, and my son had gone in there to buy it, and I'm like, oh my god.
You're like, Christmas.
And he was my older son, so he probably knew what it was. And I'm like, oh, jeez.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, mine, so a few months ago, well, first of all, I wrote about this years ago. I wrote about when my husband and I were dating. I had a shoebox where I kept all my naughty stuff in.
Yeah.
And it was in my apartment. And when we reached a certain level in our relationship and I shared this box with him, I told him, if I'm ever hit by a bus, you have to come to my apartment and get rid of this before my mom comes to clean out my stuff.
Right.
That is the level of trust I have with you now.
That's a whole level of relationship.
Well, that's when I knew we should probably get married.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if I think you can come clean out my apartment. But then, so I had trusty old, it was the rabbit back in the day with the little ears that, did its business. Yeah. And so I had that. We hadn't used it for years. But then somebody wrote a review on a blog about this one that had suction, because that's the new thing now is the suction, And so it's if you can see the video, it's I'm just suction. But and they raved about this thing. So of course I ordered it for research because I was I
had to check it out.
Well, I'm kind of the vagina whisperer, so anything that has to do with vaginas. I write about a lot of times, and so I thought I should just, expense that shit and get one. And so I got one.
I love it. Expense it. I should do that. I need to write more sex scenes and incorporate one of those toys.
There was no shame when I told my accountant. I'm like, hell yeah, I wrote about that. That is a business expense. And so, and he was like, you only use it for business? Only for business. And so... So I got this thing, and it arrived, and my kids opened up it was from Amazon, and my kids opened up all the boxes and stuff. And so my son opened it, and he's 14, and he brought it downstairs. And the box that it came in, he opened up the Amazon box, but then the box it comes in has a picture of it. But it looks kind of like a clairsonic that you do your face.
Oh, no.
And so he's like, good. Mom, so he walks in, he's like, Mom, you don't need this. And I was like, don't tell me what I need. And he's like, you don't need this. He's like, you already have one of these. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I look and I see what it is. I'm like, oh, damn.
Oh my
and so then I was like, oh, yeah. So I just tried to pretend like it was a clairsonic. And so I was like, yeah, give me that. My wrinkles need that. Yeah. And then he starts reading it. And he's like, what the heck?
Oh,
no. and then his question was, does Dad know? And,
oh, my gosh.
And I was like, sometimes, son... couples like to do that together.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it's not just all about me just doing my own business, my own work. And so I had a nice conversation with him about perhaps someday he might like to get one for his lady friends. Down the road. Down the road.
Well, it's funny because I never used any toys or anything when I was in either one of my marriages. So it was after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, and I think I'd had the rabbit before the hubs, and so it just got incorporated into our marriage. It was, grandfathered in, I guess.
Yeah.
And then but it still sits in its shoebox in my closet. Sorry, Mom. And now she needs to get it out before my kids go through my stuff someday when I get hit by a bus. But this other one, the sucking is sort of a new thing, and I thought, it's probably time to update the old girl and see what we got.
So the rabbit lasted that long.
As long as you change the batteries regularly. Yeah.
Okay.
They don't make them like they used to.
They used to.
As long as you keep her well oiled, she'll be fine.
Oh man. So you still use the rabbit sometimes.
Sometimes, very rarely. If anything, to me, that's trying new things.
Right.
I'm like, it's in the closet.
So, how adventurous do you get? because
oh girl,
like,
I am so like vanilla.
I've never been like that adventurous.
No,
so
I'm so vanilla. Like, remember like when 50 Shades came out, and everybody like lost their fucking minds.
Vanilla sex.
Yeah, and I was like, I do not want to be like spanked or tied up or blindfolded. Like, I'm such a control freak. Like, if you put a blindfold on me, I'm like, what are you doing now? What's happening? Like, what are you doing right now? Like, where are you?
Gonna work.
Did you just bring 30 people into this room to stare at my body? Like, what is happening? So there was like no way. Like, that did not appeal to me at all. And I was just like, oh no. I'm like, I'm so vanilla. It's not even funny.
Now, see, I think I probably would be a little adventurous, but. Yeah, neither one of my husbands were. So obviously I picked wrong.
And I think that's the sad part is I think my husband, God bless him, I think he would probably do anything that I asked. Like if I was like, let's try, because like tantric, because like what was it, Sting or somebody did tantric? Yeah, remember that? So. Like it was a whole big thing like years ago when he was like in his 50s or 60s or something, and everybody was like, oh my God. Yeah. And so. Okay, all right, here we go, TMI. So, he was, I kicked the microphone. I got so excited. I'm sorry, everybody. So he was like, let's try it. So I was like, okay. I'm like, what do we have to do? And so you have to like, get naked, and you sit down, and you stare into each other's eyes.
I would probably start laughing.
Oh my, I was going to say. I don't know if you've ever stared into someone's eyes without laughing, but it's really hard.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it.
I am a person who, when I am uncomfortable, I make completely inappropriate jokes.
Right.
That's what I always do. That is my go-to mechanism for deflating any situation that makes me feel weird. And I felt very weird. And this is a man I've been married to for like, 10, 15 years at that point, and I still felt weird. But I was like, I don't think I can do this. And we're staring, and I'm laughing, and I'm cracking jokes.
Are you supposed to be like breathing together or something?
Yes, you're supposed to like get in a rhythm, and you're supposed to like, caress, and I was like, that tickles. Don't touch me there.
That's ticklish.
Like, that's my fat roll. Like all these things, and he's just like, I don't care. I'm like, I care. And I was so like, it's just, I'm so weird, and I know I'm weird, and I feel like I probably need to see a therapist or something because I am super weird about it, where I'm just like, because he would probably do. I mean, if I was like, let's stand on our heads and try to.
I don't think I'd want to do that.
Well, I mean, I'm like, I read that if you're in a hot air balloon, you can have sex for 3 hours. He'd be like, I'm doing it. Let's get the hot air balloon. And so, like, I know I should be like really grateful because he is like a really good husband, and like he would do that. And he's all about like, literally. I mean, every time he's like, what can we do to help you like have more pleasure? And I was like, you could be faster. Like.
Take it too damn long.
I was like, I have shit to do. There
were times like when I was married that like I was really tired, and he was God bless him, he was trying to like make it better for me, but I was just like, can we just get this done so I can go to sleep? Yeah.
And I think that's it, when he's like, what can I do? And I'm like, stop talking. Like, shh. Like, I don't know. And that's the thing, like, he wants me to say, like, tie me up or something like that. And I'm just like, I don't know. I blame my weird religious upbringing. I also had a weird religious upbringing.
I believe it too. Like that, a lot of my hang-ups were the weird religious.
It's dirty, it's naughty.
Yeah, sex is dirty, and you're not supposed to, like, I for the longest time, I thought, I'm not supposed to enjoy it. Yeah. It makes you wicked or whatever.
It's just for procreation.
Yes.
And, and he jokes about that too, that like I was very interested in having sex before we had children. And he's like, so now that we have kids, he's like, you got what you wanted. And I was like,
you're done. Peace out.
Sort of. And I don't know, like, it's definitely a weird thing, and I should probably definitely see a therapist about it and like talk to somebody, and he's always like, talk to me about it, but it's uncomfortable to talk to him about it.
Right.
This is so much easier to talk to, like, to talk to you and a bunch of strangers on a podcast.
And the 10 other people who are listening.
And I know that he is one of our 100 subscribers. So, hey, Hubs, I'm sorry. Like, I get it, but it's just really, really, really hard. And then I'm trying not to pass my hang-ups on to my kids.
Right. So, like, I have told my girls, I've told all my children that I feel like they should have sex before they get married. Mm-hmm. Because my daughters, they're my second husband had 2 daughters, and so my daughters have half sisters, and they are much more religious than we are, and they truly believe that you should not have sex before marriage, and I am totally not in that belief. I said you need to make sure that you have like chemistry and that you're compatible in the bedroom, or you're going to be unhappy in your marriage. And I'm not out here advocating that they start having sex when they're 15 and 16. In fact, I've told them that I feel like that when they're in high school, they're probably not emotionally mature enough to handle a sexual relationship, that they should wait until they're more emotionally mature. But I'm a firm believer, and in fact, it's like, you don't have to get married. If you want to just live together, you don't have to do it. And so obviously you're going to be having sex. I would hope.
just roommates.
Yeah. So yeah, I've tried to make sure that it's gone the whole other way. That I'm like encouraging my children to explore sexuality.
So do your older kids talk to you about sex? Like,
my boys know that's not something that they want to discuss. And my oldest daughter, who's 22, we don't discuss it. No.
Because I think I'll be weird too when that happens.
Yeah.
Like, my son's 14, and he told me this summer that when he's 16, he's just going to have sex. and I had to play it really cool, and I was like, oh yeah? How come? Why are you doing that? And he was like, well, I just feel like there's so much pressure. Like, everybody's like, do it, don't do it.
So you're just going to do it and get it over with?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, I just want to get it over with. And then that way I won't be stressed out about it anymore.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, my precious stressed out child, listen to me. So I tried to talk to him a little bit. But yeah, it's like you walk that fine line where you're just like,
right?
You do you, honey. But then again,
I know, right? And so like I did tell them, if you feel like you're in a relationship and you're still in high school and you're like to the point that you feel like you're emotionally mature enough to have this, and I'm like cringing inside as I say it, come to me so that we can make sure that you're protected, because the last thing we want is for you to get an STD or, God forbid, a pregnancy.
Right.
But like Julia never had a boyfriend in high school, and Jenna is a junior and doesn't have a boyfriend. So I'm not so sad about that.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, so far we haven't had to cross that bridge because he's not interested in anybody right yet.
But this winter, I was working in the kitchen and I had my Bose headphones on, and it was like an early Sunday morning. It's like 8:00, and I hadn't turned on my music yet, and I hear something, and sometimes I'll pick up other people's like things, accidentally connect to them or whatever, and I hear this heavy panting, and I'm like, and I like laugh, I'm like, what sounds like porn? And then and I keep listening, and I'm like, oh my God, that is porn. So I'm like, where is that coming from? And so I'm like, is that Ross? And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go upstairs and look. So I start checking the bedrooms, and it was my 13-year-old son. And so that was a very, very for 2 days we didn't have a discussion about that. He knew I knew, and because and so we had a discussion several days later about how porn was okay when he was older and he was mature enough to know what a relationship really was, that that if he wanted to do that when he was much older and even in a committed relationship. But there was a lot of porn that was very harmful, demeaning to women, and it gave a false idea of what relationships were. And he was still impressionable and too young to know the difference, and that so then I got one of those monitoring devices for his phone, and then he couldn't hardly get onto anything, and he would complain, and I'd be like, oh, sorry, well, maybe we shouldn't be watching porn.
All you get is Barney now.
Oops. So that was fun conversation. I told my oldest son, I'm like, do you want to talk to him? He's like, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I'm like, don't you think it would be better coming from you? He's like, no. So that was fun. Yeah.
No, we just have, my son, he's 14, and he won't talk to his dad about this stuff. He only talks to me.
Oh.
And I'm always like, wouldn't you be more comfortable asking Dad about this? And he's just like, no, Dad will just say, figure it out, And I was like, yeah, that's not the right answer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because it's like, no, I think, yeah, like as a woman, like you have that conversation about porn. You have that, guys are just like, oh, no, you just watch porn. It's fine. Whatever. Yeah. Boys watch porn.
Well, and like my oldest son's first response was, well, and I'm like, listen, I said, if he was 17, this would just like fly under the radar and I wouldn't say a word, but he's 13 and he's much too young to. He's like, yeah, you're right, yeah.
And I think even if he was 17, I'd still want to have the conversation about that. This is not a real world.
Yes, like, this is not how relationships work.
I think the phrase I used with my son when we talked about porn, I was like, I don't care what anybody says, no woman wants to have you come on her face.
Yeah,
and he was like, ah, and I was like, yeah. I was like, that's our reaction too.
You're much more blunt than I.
I was like, yeah, that's our reaction.
Have a talk with my son.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. I'll tell him. Because I was like, no, nobody wants that. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm sure you'll write me an email and tell me, no, I love that.
Yeah.
But, again, you're a small population.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, no, that's my whole thing is it's always so unrealistic. And so I'm like, it's not.
That's what I told him. It's very unrealistic.
My girls don't look like this.
Yes.
It doesn't happen
like that.
You don't just deliver a pizza and have sex with her. Like, it just doesn't work out this way. Like, no one lives in apartments that all look like weird motel rooms. Like, it just isn't like this. Yeah. This isn't the real world. So, that's kind of my discussion with him about that. And then my daughter, she's different. She still thinks boys are gross or whatever.
That's good.
So, so we keep that. We'll just keep that. Yeah. She's just more interested in like what's going on with her own body.
Yeah.
So that's her discussion.
Yeah. And that works for now.
Yeah. Well, I think we're at the end of our time.
Yeah, I think we're almost
done, you guys. Yeah, and so we're going to put up a question on our Facebook page.
Yes.
To Midlife Mommas.
Yes.
And we would love for you to go there and like the page and answer our question. Yeah. We don't know the question yet, but we're going to put something up. It's going to be a poll.
Yeah.
And it'll have something to do with today's topic. We'll think of something great that we want to know about you and your sex life.
Yeah. We're nosy like that.
Exactly.
I mean, we just had TMI with ourselves, so now you have to share with us.
Assuming this podcast got recorded and we're actually really going to publish it.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm okay with it. I'm not having regret or anything.
When I brought up the topic today to Denise, like, and Ross was sitting here, she was like, well, and I was like, if you're not comfortable, she's like, no, I just need Ross to leave.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, good. Then let's dive in.
Yeah.
So that's it. And I hope you guys follow us. You can follow Denise at...
I'm Denise Grover Swank all over the place. Website, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm Denise M. Swank on Twitter. But yeah, and I'm hardly there, so don't waste your time. So, yeah.
And I'm Jen Man, or People I Want to Punch in the Throat. And I'm also boring on Twitter, so don't follow me there. I mostly just use it to complain to, I don't know, businesses that have wronged me.
You just start doing that.
Well, my handle's at Throat Punch, and so
that works.
When your name is at Throat Punch, they kind of listen.
Yeah.
When you're like, hey, you guys, these lines are too long, suddenly a cash register opens, and so.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm scared.
They're very scared of me. But other than that, I'm very boring on there. And but I'm Jen Man, People on Punch and Throat, and then follow us at 2 Midlife Mommas. Subscribe to the podcast.
Yes, we are everywhere.
And tell all your friends to listen to this podcast.
Especially this one. It's a fun one, right?
Yeah. Well, we're trying to think of great topics that we think that you guys want to talk about. I realize that we're not talking to you. We're kind of talking at you. But But if there's something you would love to hear Denise and I take a spin at, let us know.
Yeah, and we're actually talking about doing a live podcast in the future. Maybe towards, we'll see. We'll post about it, and then we'll invite you guys to comment. Kind of like a Ask Me Anything, we think. So we're still trying to decide on the topic. So you'll get a chance to participate in the podcast too.
Right. So let us know what you'd like to hear about, and be sure to subscribe and follow along. Thanks again for joining us this week.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, Denise here. I know you're sad because the podcast episode is over, and now you have to wait an entire week to hear us again. But guess what? You don't have to wait. you can listen to one of our audiobooks. Like to listen to true crime podcasts? I've got several mystery series to choose from. Or maybe you prefer to listen to podcasts about The Bachelor. Check out one of my rom-com series. You can find these audiobooks and many more at Audible, Apple Audiobooks, or check out my website, denisegroverspank.com, and click on Audiobooks in the menu at the top. Happy listening!